Hello. Welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Magnicraft Consulting Team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, and actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade.
Welcome, everyone. So delighted to come your way this morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Matters. Apologies for coming your way a bit late because of technical issues. Thank you for hooking up with us. My name is Niyi Dunmade. I'm the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps local churches to grow healthier through empirical assessments, trainings, and strategic blueprints. Thank you for hooking up with us. We are so glad that you are part of this live broadcast show. We've been having a series going on for over a month, and it is when church growth becomes a problem. Okay, we are so glad you're a part of this live broadcast show. As usual, I am Niyi Dunmade, the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. Our vision is to be the leading church health consultancy that creates sustainable and adaptable solutions. I'm also a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the US. And so it delights my heart to come your way with this live broadcast show. I'm also your church health guardian of the 21st century. A big thank you to everyone who has been commenting, reaching out to us, telling us how timely our podcast content is, and telling us, liking, sharing, posting comments on our timeline. Thank you for those who are giving us a super thanks on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'll share it to your pastor, your church leader, so we can reach more people. You can assist us with having the artificial intelligence in our favor to reach more people. Quickly, let's do some promo in no time. We're going to look at when church growth becomes a problem. Dr. Tom Rainer is doing over 40% discount on certification as a church consultant. So become a certified church consultant in less than 4 to 6 months, and that will help your own church and to help other church revitalize in no time. Please get my book on church retention, Pathway to Growth. It's going to change your life, and it's going to change how you lead and manage your church as a whole. 3 things that pastors usually have, and that is 3 hats that a pastor must fulfill. Okay, I'm trying to follow up from where I stopped last week, Monday. And so one of the hats is to preach, to feed the sheep, to preach. Okay, the other one has to do to lead, and the third one has to be to shepherd. Okay, depending on the size of your church, these 3 things differ in operation, because the way you preach, lead, and shepherd when the church is small is different from when the church is mid-size, or it's also different from when the church is large. And so last week, Monday, we looked at some things about the problems that church growth brings. And I'm going to do that quickly, and then we'll go details into what we need to do to address the problem. What are the mentalities that we need to confront, and how do we address such a kind of problems that we're facing. Okay, that's my church growth. Now look at the church growth calculator. I'm thinking of a church of, let's say, 100 Okay, and we want to double, for example, we want to add another, or let's say we want to even add 50, right? By the end of the year, we want to be 150. Okay, now here is telling us that if the attrition rate is 5%, invite per attendance rate is 70%, retention rate is 80%, and the percentage of inviters is 70%. Okay, now the number of invite you need is about 98. Now the number of invite is reducing because your retention rate is high and your attrition rate is low. And so get my book, you're going to understand that concept, that when you are running at a high retention rate, you need less volumes of guests to come into your front door, less money to be able to process the guests, and less time to be able to get your full potentials. Okay, and so we looked at the problem in details here, where if you have 1-to-1 ratio, right, 1-to-1 conversion ratio, what it means that every one person that is in the church is bringing one person to Christ. And so let's say we have a 1,000 size church, right? In the first year, you can see that in the third year, the 100 attendance is now what? 800, pardon me, 800. So you have added 700 over the space of 3 years to your 100 that you started with. And then in the space of 4 years, you are able to double what you ended up in the third year to be 1,600, which means that you are able to add 1,500 to the 100 that you started with as a church. But what I'm saying is here that the more time you spend as in this church growth scenario, what happens is that the lesser number of disciples or mature disciples you have in your church. For example, after the third year, you have about 12.5%, assuming you have 3 years to mature a disciple, and you are actually maturing all those disciples, 100 disciples, and so you are able to have 12.5% who are matured after 3 years, and about 90%, 87.5% who are still immature or babies. And then in the fourth year, you can see that 50% dropped from the 12.5% to about 6.25%. And then the people who are babies, who are not matured in the church, is 93.75%. So you can see that the longer you delay in maturing disciples, because that is the essence of the church. We are to make and mature disciples for God's kingdom. And so if you delay in that process, what happens is that, and you are getting your conversion rate right, you're going to be having a lot of babies in your church. So we made some things clear in last Monday on that, the demand of the consumerism mentality. Now, babies are very needy in nature, and so once your church is full of babies, is full of young converts, they will want milk, they will want attention, they will, and you see, once they have all those things, the heart you are going to be switching from preaching, leading, shepherd will be so frequent that you have to match up with that kind of demand from people who are, from disciples who are not matured in your church. I said this depends on how your church is. Now, once we take that size to 1,000, you can see that the number of people is going to increase. The percentage is not going to be the same in terms of the volume of people that we're dealing with in the church. The second thing has to do with pleasing mentality, because you want to pacify the babies. You want to, because every baby wants to be pampered, and so you have to be able to behave like the eagle at times, to push out the baby out of the nest, out of the comfort zone, to see how they are going to be matured. One of the things that I'll say quickly is the spiritual disciplines that you need to put in place. And the spiritual disciplines we are talking about has to be balanced in the sense that you have inward disciplines, okay? 3 dimensions of spiritual disciplines. There's the inward discipline, okay? The things that you need to build on the inside. And most of the time, what you build on the inside is what will determine how you build on the outside. So there's the outward disciplines. There's also the corporate discipline. So those three disciplines in terms of maturing babies in your church. One is the inward disciplines. I'm going to mention some of them subsequent Mondays, so that as you start the year, you look at a balance of the inward discipline, outward disciplines, and the corporate disciplines. What are the traits of the kingdom disciple that we need to begin to see? And what process or pathway can we put in place to make sure that these things are seen in the life of every disciple? Now, one of the things I like so much is the habit. Okay, H has to do with hanging out with God. Okay, A has to do with what? Attending church. Okay, B has to do with being generous. I has to do with investing in healthy friendship, and T has to do with telling my story. S has to do with serving others. Habits. So what are the habits you need to begin to activate in terms of spiritual disciplines to make sure that you don't have this kind of church growth deficiency, church growth problem deficiency in your church, so that you have people who are you have more disciples who are supplying, because the health of your church is also dependent on how much of the parts of your body that are supplying. So, but by the time you have the parts of the body who are demanding without not contributing to the unity of the body, there will be a problem. So, demand or consumerism mentality, there must be a switch, so that you have people who are coming to contribute. And I can tell you that when you have people who are coming to supply and contribute rather than coming to be served, they are coming to serve, you're going to get them to be matured in no time. Okay? Maturity is a choice. You don't force maturity. You decide to be responsible. You decide to be disciplined. You decide to become a disciple. You decide to pick up the cross and follow Jesus. The other one has to do with an insider mentality, because they are the babies of the house. They don't want people who are coming to the church to take over their place as a baby of the house. And so we need to make sure that they are also moving to ensure that they don't have that inside mentality. Okay, insider mentality. Sometimes they always want to have this this aspect of me, myself, and I. Okay, there's that selfish focusedness. Okay, they don't want anybody to be close to the pastorate, because they want all the attention. They want all the limited resources to be concentrated on them. So the thing is self-focused mentality. You have to be selfless. When disciples are matured, they are selfless. They don't think about themselves. They sow themselves into the God's work, into the ministry into the ministry, and they are able to get much impact in what is going on in the church. Okay, then they are adverse to growth mentality. Babies want to enjoy the comfort, as I said. They are adverse to growth. They don't want to be disciplined. Okay, they don't want to be purged. Okay, they don't want to be chastised. That's the word I'm looking for. They don't want to be chastised. And you see, when a father loves his baby, there has to be some pruning, there has to be some purging, there has to be some chastisement, because that's how you know that there's love. Okay, if you have a flower and you don't want the flower to go wild, you have to begin to prune those dead leaves. You have to begin to prune those dead, because if you don't prune those dead leaves, it's going to go wild. It won't be beautiful, and you can't see the potentials in the plant or the flower. So you have to be able to make sure that you are not you create a system or structure in the church that does not encourage silos, that is not adverse to growth in terms of spiritual growth mentality. Now, one of the things I know about babies is that they like chaos. They are like disorder. You see, one of the things about running a church is that everything must be done decently and in order. If someone add a tongue, add a psalm, add an interpretation of tongue, everything must be done decently and in order. If you see a place, a church where they are full of babies, you're going to see a lot of disorder. You're going to see a lot of chaos. You're going to see a lot of mess going on in the church. And so for you to be able to mature those babies, you need to begin to create some order, create some decency. Things should be placed where it should be. Things should be done properly, because we are dealing with souls here. We are dealing with kingdom matters, and so babies need to understand the weight behind the kingdom matters that goes on in the church. So one of the frequent things about babies, a church filled with babies, is when you have chaos kind of mentality. They just they don't care about the ambience of the church. They don't care about the arrangement of the church. They don't care about little details of what's going on in the church, because they feel entitled and things like that. The other point has to do with inconsistency. Inconsistency has to do with switching. Okay, you do what is right, you do what is wrong, and I can tell you that the inconsistency is not what is making babies not to grow. Okay, I know of a church who they have a tool for assessing the discipleship process, growth of all their members, because you need to see growth is like a line upon line, bricks upon bricks. Okay, precept upon precept. Okay, once there's inconsistency, it's like taking one step forward and 10 steps backward. So babies are inconsistent, and you need to begin to create out a system whereby you can make them to be consistent in terms of their prayer life, in terms of their reading of the word, memorizing of scriptures, and things like that. Those spiritual disciplines, we're going to go into those details next week, Monday. But the thing is, inconsistency must be addressed. Okay, things must be agreed upon that it is not acceptable here. Things must be agreed upon, and system must be put in place to make sure that the inconsistencies of the larger house of babies in the church is not the order of the day at all. The other one has to do with complacency mentality. Okay, because they'll always get all their attention, there's that complacency of them not wanting to change. Okay, there's that complacency that they don't want to move away from their comfort zone. But the thing is, the pastors, the church leaders, the mature disciples must be willing to talk tough, do tough, think tough, to make sure that there is some form of discomfort to make them not to be complacent in what you have prayed 12 hours before. Does not mean that you are still praying 12 hours, or you have won 200 souls to Christ. Does not mean that you are hot and you are winning 200 souls consistently. And so complacency is we're going to look at some of those spiritual disciplines to address some of this mindset or mentality in the church. Okay, then risk averse. Babies don't take risk. It takes people who are conscious, mature, to be able to take risk and sow their lives into God. So risk adverse mentality and attention seeking mentality. Attention seeking mentality. Babies love attention. Okay, when you have babies in the church who don't come to church, and people don't call them, people don't check on them, they say, oh, I didn't come to church, that pastor is not caring. Whereas you are supposed to be accountable. You are supposed to not be attention seeking. That does not mean the pastor should not care for everyone in the church. But you see, babies are so conscious about the attention that they need to have in the church. I need to wrap up there. Then we'll go into some the spiritual disciplines next week, Monday, to wrap up the 2 Mondays that are left in the year 2020. I know you've gotten some good juice this morning. Please feel free to share this content on YouTube, share it on Facebook. Make sure that you share it to your pastor. Please, if you have any church-related questions or inquiry, let us have them via any of the social media handles. Sure, you're going to get more than an answer from me in any of those social media handles. Please, if this video has been helpful to you, give us a like, do share us to your community, and drop us a comment. You've learned from me, I also want to learn from you. Please drop me a comment in the comment section. You're sure going to get a response from me. Please, we do church revitalization, and we do church revitalization. We do consultations, trainings, and strategic blueprints, plannings for churches. This is a year where you want to plan for 2023. Let us come help facilitate some of the planning sessions, goal setting sessions for your church. Reach out to us on the number of the screen, and we can help your church move from where it is right now to where it should be in God. Okay, and so please feel free to like our Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. Subscribe, give us some super thanks. That will encourage us to get some more good content your way and to reach out to more people and more churches for Christ. Till I come your way next week, Monday, with a continuation of when church growth becomes a problem. I say God bless you, bye bye, and I love what you're doing. Thank you so much.